Good morning, CASA scholars. Today we are going to be doing our Monday, April 27th reading comp enrichment packet work. So for today, you will need your reading comp packet and you will need your day 6 graphic organizer. We know it's day 6 because it says day 6 at the back on the very top. This is again our graphic organizer, which is going to help us collect our thoughts about the story we're going to read today. Before we begin, go ahead and get this worksheet and write your name, please, at the top. It is important that you are still writing your name and practicing that skill so you'll be excellent writers when we go into first grade, okay? So go ahead and take the time to write your name for a few seconds and we'll get started. Okay, scholars, if you haven't finished your name, that's okay. You'll have a few minutes at the end to practice writing your name, and even at the end of today's lesson, if you'd like, on the back of your graphic organizer, if it's blank like Miss T's, practice writing your name. If it's not blank, get us another sheet of paper, but continue to practice writing your first and last name. You definitely don't want to forget that skill, and as I mentioned, it's very important. Your name is something that's unique to you, that was made for you, so writing your name is a great skill to keep. We're going to jump in today. If you saw, your graphic organizer is similar to the one that we did the other day. Today for reading comp, we are going to continue our lesson on the problem of the story, the conflict, is what it's called, the conflict, which is the problem. We're going to talk about the solution, how the conflict got fixed, and we're going to think about what behavior caused this. Now, before we jump in, let's go ahead and review all those key elements that we need to know today, or key aspects. All right. So the first one that we talked about is the conflict. What's it called? Say conflict. Ready? Go. Conflict. The conflict is the problem in the story. And the problem is usually something that is not going well. It's usually sad or a bad thing. It's something that's not going well. So we have a chant, and it says, the conflict is the problem in the story. We put out our sad face because the conflict is something that's sad or bad. We are not happy about the conflict. Let's go ahead and do our chant one more time. Ready? The conflict is the problem in the story. All right, one more time. The conflict is the problem in the story. Make our sad face and we're going to point our thumbs down because conflict is not good. We do not want to have conflict. Now, we know that conflict is the problem, and guess what? We can always fix the problem. We can find a solution. So a solution is the way that the conflict or the problem gets fixed, and we have a chant for that. Ready? It goes, the solution is how the problem gets fixed. And guys, we want to smile and put a thumbs up because solution and fixing problems is a good thing. We don't want to stay mad or sad. We want to fix our problems. We want to have a solution. So go ahead one more time. Solution is how the problem gets fixed. One more time. The solution is how the problem gets fixed. So the solution is how we fix our problem. Okay? So for example, in the classroom, I might have the problem that my teacher is teaching and I broke my pencil. What could my solution be? Oh, maybe to sharpen my pencil or to get a new one. Okay, I fixed my problem. Or when you're at home and let's say you're getting some water or some juice in the kitchen and you accidentally spill it. Oh no, that's a problem. You've made a mess. But what can a solution be? Maybe to get a paper towel or get a towel and clean it up. Maybe tell your mom or older brother or sister or grandma so they can fix it. They can clean it up. That's the solution. Okay, now the last thing that we're going to talk about today is the behavior that caused the solution. Okay, I'm going to say that again. On the very bottom of our graphic organizer, it says, think what behavior caused the problem or caused this. So going back to what we talked about the other day, we talked about the Ruby and the copycat story and how the problem was that she wasn't being herself. She was copying everybody. And then the solution was she realized she was good at something and started being herself. Why did she make that change? Oh, because she realized she was good at something. So going back to my pencil, I broke my pencil. That's a problem. I can't do my work. My solution is to sharpen it or get a new pencil. I'll probably just want to get a new pencil because if I sharpen it, I might distract others from learning. Now, what behavior caused this? Well, Miss T wants to continue to do her work. She doesn't want to fall behind. Okay, so that's my pencil example. But let's go back to our drink example. At home, you had a problem. It was an accident. You spilled some juice on the floor or on the counter. Oh no, that's the problem. Now, the solution is you're going to get a towel and clean it up. Now, what behavior caused that? Why did you want to clean it up? Well, maybe to stay safe so that no one falls on it. Maybe so that it doesn't dry and get sticky. And maybe just so that you don't have water everywhere. So that's what behaviors cause us to find that solution. All right? Okay. Today we're going to go ahead and begin our lesson now that we've reviewed all those parts. And we are going to use the book First Day Jitters. We have read this book many times, scholars. Good readers often go back and reread books. It helps us to become better readers, and it helps us to keep practicing our brain with reading and recognizing words. So we're going to read this book today, and I want you to be excellent listeners so that you can help me find what the conflict is, what is the problem. You can help me find the solution, how we fix the problem, and then in the end, we can think about what caused the solution to be fixed, what caused the behavior to fix it. All right. First day jitters. Sarah, dear, time to get out of bed, Mr. Hartwell said, poking his head through the bedroom doorway. You don't want to miss the first day at your new school, do you? I'm not going, said Sarah, and pulled the covers over her head. Of course you're going, honey, said Mr. Hartwell, as he walked over to the windows and snapped open the shades. No, I'm not. I don't want to start over again. I hate my new school, Sarah said, and she tunneled down to the end of her bed. How can you hate your new school, sweetheart? Mr. Hartwell chuckled. You've never even been there before. Don't worry, you like your other school. You'll like this one. Besides, think of all the new friends you'll meet. That's just it. I don't know anybody, and it'll be hard, and I just hate it, and that's all. What will everyone think if you aren't there? We told them you were coming. They will think that I'm lucky, and they will wish that they were at home in bed like me, Mr. Hartwell sighed. Sarah Jane Hartwell, I am not playing this silly game 1 second longer. I'll see you downstairs in 5 minutes. Okay, we're going to stop there because we just read the beginning of the book. And scholars, in the beginning of our story, there was a problem. There was a conflict. There was something that's not going well. Think about what you think the problem is and turn and tell somebody at your home what might be the bad thing or the sad thing in the story. What is not going well? Go ahead. All right, come back to Miss T. Scholars, what is the bad or sad thing that's not going well in the story? What is the conflict or the problem? If you said something like Sarah doesn't want to go to school or she doesn't want to get out of bed to go to school, then you're absolutely right. The problem at this point in the beginning of our story is that Sarah does not want to go to school. So I'm going to write that on my paper, sounding it out. S, air. I'm going to go ahead and put an A and an R and an A and an H. I kind of know how to write Sarah because that's my sister's name. Sarah does not want to go to ooh. Okay, I went ahead and wrote out my answer on the paper. You can either sound out your words and write the answers, or in a second, Miss T will flip her camera over and you can see her worksheet. Go ahead and remember that when you're writing the words, Sarah does not want to go to school, you're remembering your finger spaces, you're listening for those beginning, middle, and ending sounds, and you're doing the best you can with your spelling. Parents, feel free to pause the video once I show my paper to allow your scholar time to write the answer, or you can pause the video, give them the opportunity to try to write those words with you, sounding them out and building those writing skills, and then you can kind of see what I wrote or move on. All right, I'm going to turn my camera over now so you can see that Miss T wrote, Sarah does not want to go to school. And we're going to put that in our top box, which says problem of the story. We know this is our problem because it's got our sad face. Go ahead and write your response now. Sarah does not want to go to school. That is our problem. Okay. It is more than okay if you do not have that written on your paper right now. Again, your parents can pause the video for as long as you need. We're going to go ahead and move on though so that the video is not very long. All right. So we know that our problem is that Sarah does not want to go to school. Now we're going to read the rest of the story to see what the solution is. How can she fix her problem? Sarah tumbled out of bed. She stumbled in the bathroom. She fumbled into her clothes. My head hurts, she moaned as she trudged into the kitchen. Mr. Hartwell handed Sarah a piece of toast and her lunchbox. They walked to the car. Sarah's hands were cold and clammy. They drove down the street. Sarah couldn't breathe. And then they were there. I feel sick, Sarah said weakly. Nonsense, said Mr. Hartwell. You'll love your new school once you get started. Oh, look, there's your principal, Miss Burton. Sarah slumped down in her seat. Oh, Sarah, Miss Burton gushed, peeking into the car. There you are. Come on, I'll show you where to go. She led Sarah into the building and walked quickly through the crowded hallways. Don't worry, everyone is nervous the first day, she said over her shoulder as Sarah rushed to keep up. When they got to the classroom, most of the children were already in their seats. The class looked up at Miss Burton, the class looked up as Miss Burton cleared her throat. Class, attention please, said Miss Burton. When the class was quiet, she led Sarah to the front of the room and said, Class, I would like you to meet your new teacher, Miss Sarah Jane Hartwell. The end. So scholars, our problem, our sad or bad thing that wasn't going well in the story was that Sarah didn't want to go to school. But what happened? What was the solution? How did we fix the problem? What was the solution? What was the good thing? The good thing is that what happened? Go ahead and tell your mom or dad or brother or sister what's the good thing that happened to fix the problem. Go ahead. Okay, come back to Miss T. So the solution is that Sarah went to school. Even though Sarah didn't want to go to school, Sarah went. So we're going to write that in our solution box on our graphic organizer. Sarah, I know that name because we already wrote it, S-A-R-A-H, went, to, oo, s, k, 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 ooh. All right, so the solution is that Sarah went to school. Sarah went to school. 4 words. You can again sound them out and write them on your own and try, or Miss T will show you her paper. Again, parents, go ahead and freeze the video if you need time for your scholar to write it. All right, let me show you my paper. All right, so in the solution box with the happy face, we wrote Sarah went to school. Remember your finger spaces. All right, we're gonna come back to Miss T. Now, we have one more box on our worksheet, and that box is to think what behavior caused this. So, Sarah didn't want to go to school. That was the problem. But she went to school. She fixed it. She had a solution. Now I see that this box is showing me an arrow. Why do you think she went to school? This arrow shows me that I need to think about why she did this. We know here she went to school. So why do you think she went to school? Scholars, why do you think Sarah went to school? Why is that? Why would you do that? Think about it for a second and tell somebody next to you, why do you think Sarah went to school? Okay, come back to Miss T. You may have said that Sarah went to school because Mr. Hartwell talked to her. You might have said Sarah went to school because it was her job. You might have said that Sarah went to school because she knew she needed to. Those are all good answers. She absolutely went to school because Mr. Hartwell told her to or talked her into it. She needed to, and it's her job. School's important. So all those answers are completely fine. On our paper, though, we're going to write that she, knew, she, to, go. It is or corn All right, so we wrote a lot of words there. We wrote she knew, she needed to go. It is important. That's 9 words. So a lot of words. You can try them out with somebody sitting next to you. Ms. T is also going to turn over the camera again. That's a lot of writing, so feel free to take your time and pause the video so that you get all that information. There we go. My blanket's on the camera. Okay, I'm going to come back to Miss T, but again, feel free to take the time to write that as long as you need to. Again, sorry that you saw my pink blanket. It's a little chilly in my dining room today. So, scholars, that's all that we have today. We have identified the conflict or the bad thing in the story. We identified the solution, how it got fixed, and we identified what behavior caused us to fix it. Today, as you read any other books or you watch a show, think about if there's a problem, think about if there's a solution, and think about why they fixed that. Like, why would they want to fix that problem? And keep growing your brains. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will See you again hopefully soon. Bye-bye, dears.